So I do a lot of work on solar eclipses, and occasionally there's some confusion about why something has to do with a solar eclipse. So I want to do this post to talk about the founding of Freemasonry and how it was founded by the numbers in relation to solar eclipses of the time. I think this is very important because if people can realize that history is coded out in this fashion, it might lead to a little more decoding. And I want to thank Boneless Rocker for leaving a good comment that led me to look into this and discover not just what he shared, but also some other alignments, because this premier Grand Lodge of England actually closed in 1813, 96 years after it opened. And the word Freemason equals 96. It opened in 1717, went extinct in 1813. And let me just pull this over here, you can see. Formed June 24th, 1717, extinct December 27th, 1813. So you got 96 years, 6 months, and 3 days right there. Now this date, June 24th, 1717, this was the day after the moon went full at night, shortly before midnight. So the moon was over 99% illuminated. In Hebrew Gematria, full moon equals 289. And 289 is 17 squared. Again, the lodge founded in the year 1717. The word Mason in Pythagorean Gematria, with each letter reduced to a single digit, equals 17. But what's so special about this date is that it was exactly a span of 112 weeks after a total solar eclipse that passed directly overhead in London, England. Look at the path of totality. And I wrote on my blog, I've been looking at these solar eclipses pretty closely for a while. I would estimate that, less than 1 in 100 years is the path of totality going to cross over London, England, just based on its latitude on the globe. And 112 is a really important number. Mathematics equals 112. The word circle, using the reverse alphabetic order, also 112. And think about an eclipse as the intersection of the two largest circles in the sky. Now this was also, if you take the next total solar eclipse, the one that occurred after the one that passed over London, England, and measure from that date to the date that the Grand Lodge opened, you get 14 months and 3 days. And in Hebrew, the word for circle equals 143. Not only that, but the premier Grand Lodge of England, using the Jewish cipher based on Latin and reducing it, it sums to 143. And what's interesting about this is that if you measure from the previous day before the opening, right, so the date of that full moon, to the date of the next total solar eclipse, August 15th, 1719, again, 112 weeks exactly. So, this isn't the date of the founding, it's June 23rd, the day before, but it's as close as you can get to making it right in between those eclipses. And then finally, you go one more total eclipse, and just to show you, these are the four closest total solar eclipses to the date of establishment of Freemasonry. I'm not picking and choosing random solar eclipses to find my numbers that match. These are the four closest. And if you go to that next one from 1721, it's 43 months and 3 days. And 433 is the Jewish gematria of solar eclipse. That's the 84th prime number. And 84, by the way, Masonry sums to 84 using the reverse order. This is also, by the way, exactly 1,313 days. You got a 13, 13 right in there. Total eclipse equals 130 in Jewish ordinal. That's wrong. I'll fix that. Now, when it comes to Freemasonry, we all know that 33 is the Masonic number of obsession. And that's for several reasons. I suspect one of them is that there's the 12-month lunar calendar. Every 33 solar years, you have to add 1 year to that calendar to make them sync up. And 33 factors to 3 times 11. Those are the two prime numbers that factor into it. And the moon is 3/11ths the size of the Earth. So what's interesting about that is that when you write out 33 using the alphabetic order and the reverse alphabetic order, it sums to 156 and 141. And if you type out the premier Grand Lodge of England, you get 156 reduction and 141 reverse reduction matches up with the gematria of 33. Now the 33rd prime number is 137, and the 137th prime number is 773. Simple chain to follow. And in Jewish gematria, the premier Grand Lodge of England equals 773. So here we're going to look at the date that they went extinct and see how this matches up to total solar eclipses, and it's going to blow your mind. First of all, this was 202 days exactly before the next total solar eclipse. Using the alphabetic order, T the 20th letter, O the 15th, so 20 plus 15 plus 20 plus 1, etc. Total solar eclipse equals 202. And again, this is 202 days before the next total solar eclipse. But that's not all. If you go 2 more eclipses ahead, and I'll explain why. What we're going to do here is look at the closest, like 8 or 9 eclipses to the date of extinction. We got 8 here. And if you measure to the total solar eclipse of 1817, it was exactly 202 weeks, with that end date included. And what's special about these two, like here you have, we see that the eclipse of July 17th, 1814, this is the one that occurred after the date of extinction, the very next one. And then this other date that I looked at was from 1817. So I skipped 2 there, but let me explain what's so significant about these dates. If you look at the date here, July 17th, that's 717. 7 times 17, those are the factors of 119. And then this eclipse here, you see this, the one that it was 202 weeks before? Look at that date. It's November 9th, 11/9. And this is significant because in Hebrew gematria, the term for total solar eclipse equals 119. But there's more. If you type out total eclipse, it's 713 using English extended. And looking closely at the number 713, you see it factors to 23 times 31. Well, 23, that's the 9th prime number. And 31, that's the 11th prime number. And, total solar eclipse, 119. Total eclipse, 713. There's a very clear connection there. We also have all-seeing eye, alphabetic order, 119. Saturn in Hebrew equals 713, by the way, which I don't have on here, as does total eclipse in English. And Saturn equals 119 with capital letters in Francis Bacon. So in numerology, 202 represents 22, and 22 is the master builder number. Freemasons consider themselves master builders. And would you believe that the date 12/27, and think about how there's a 227 right in there? And I want to point out that the term total eclipse in Hebrew, if we look at Hebrew gematria, the extended form, it's 227. Again, the lodge closed on the date 12/27. And this date, 12/27/1813, also happened to fall 220 weeks after a solar eclipse and 22 weeks after another. So now we're looking at the eclipses of 1809 and 1813. So of these 8 here, we're looking at this one, 1813 and 1809. So of the 8 nearest total solar eclipses, 4 of them have direct connections to the number 22, like total solar eclipse equals 202, 22 the master builder number. And how about this? Using the alphabetic order, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, all the way through Z is 26, the term master builder number equals 220. And, just look at the numerology of the lodge that's responsible for building Freemasonry, all by the numbers of total solar eclipses. So when I talk about people dying in relation to total solar eclipses, this is what I mean. I'm talking about like everything that these people do seems to be in tune with a total solar eclipse. Just because I do a video on a sacrifice or a death doesn't mean I'm saying that has to do with the Super Bowl or a championship. I'm just saying this is how they operate in everything outside of pro sports as well. It's not all about sports. There's more at play here. Sports is a big part of the practice of Kabbalah that we see in the day-to-day, but it goes a lot deeper than that, many, many hundreds of years before this. So I just wanted to point this out and explain a little bit more about why I'm doing the type of work I am. So thanks for watching. God bless.